Hello, I'm Jonasz Rawiński and this is Military Mind. Armed conflicts, defense and security, land, sea and air. We've got you covered. During an overnight attack, Russian forces hit Ukraine using 129 strike drones. Ukrainian authorities reported numerous casualties and widespread destruction across the country. In the Kharkiv region, a Russian drone struck a private residential area. 4 people were killed, including 3 children. According to Ukraine's state emergency service, the drone hit a residential house, triggering a fire. The private home was completely destroyed. Also, authorities declared a regional-level state of emergency in the energy sector. According to the head of the region, the decision was made due to ongoing strikes on electricity and heating infrastructure, which have caused serious consequences for the population's basic living conditions. Meanwhile, in Volgograd, Russia, a fire broke out at an industrial facility following a Ukrainian drone attack. Independent sources analyzed eyewitness footage and concluded that the blaze occurred at a Lukoil refinery. The fire affected the primary oil refining complex, which has a capacity of 6 million tons per year. This refinery is the largest producer of petroleum products in Russia's southern federal district. Ukrainian forces have repeatedly targeted this facility. This is at least the 9th attack on the refinery since the start of the full-scale war. Turning now to the battlefield, a film crew from Latvia's public broadcaster LSM came under attack by a Russian FPV drone in the Donetsk region. A journalist and a cameraman were traveling with a soldier from the Air Assault Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. They were planning to film a story about a Latvian volunteer there. Near a section of road where vehicles are forced to slow down, a Russian FPV drone exploded next to their car. Shrapnel damaged the rear of the vehicle and shattered the window, but luckily no one was injured. According to the latest information, Russian forces have significantly reinforced their presence in Pokrovsk, deploying up to 150,000 troops to the area. Fighting remains active in the northern part of Pokrovsk, where Moscow has sharply increased the use of small assault groups. This is still Russia's primary tactic, as all other attempts to achieve a military breakthrough have failed. The FPV interceptor unit of the SBU's Alpha Special Forces Center destroyed more than 300 enemy Molniya-type UAVs in 1 month. One of the crews showed particularly impressive results, with about 100 targets intercepted. The work is carried out almost around the clock. Detection, approach and destruction of drones still targeting Ukraine's defensive positions. Now, the Molniya, first introduced around 2024, is a relatively primitive drone made partially of plywood, but don't let that fool you. These medium-range drones are cheap to produce, and the Russians keep upgrading them with new functions. Some have even been used to carry other smaller drones into combat. With this capacity for mischief, the Molniya is more than a battlefield nuisance. Whenever it comes flying, it becomes a priority target. Footage has appeared online of yet another innovative means of fighting off UAV attacks. And yes, we're entering the bizarre world of Russian improvised combat tech. Now this time, the Russian military presented a device that, according to its designers, is supposed to fend off oncoming drones with spinning pieces of cable. The design is really something else. It looks a bit like a self-propelled doghouse with an improvised short-range mechanism, kind of like a glorified grass trimmer, except it faces outward. It doesn't also have a shield to protect someone from the whizzing cable. This creates a danger zone for pretty much everything and everyone nearby, including probably its own infantry and equipment. There is little information regarding the details, but let's just say this piece of unknown technology isn't likely to become the next big thing in passive anti-drone system design.
На первый взгляд, довольно странная машина. По меркам классического вооружения, ни грузового отсека, ни пулемета, ни привычной брони. Вместо этого несколько вращающихся дисков с остальными тросами. Но именно в этой необычной конструкции ее главная сила.
Что вот это такое за интересная конструкция, зачем она нужна? Я так понимаю, это пока только такой тестовый.
Это, да, тестовый вариант. Задумка такая, то что валы вращаются, тем самым приводя в движение вот эту, так скажем, вентилятор с тросами. Когда FPV пытается ударить, тросы ее либо сбивают, либо откидывают в сторону.
Of course, there are so many questions, like what if the cables become tangled in some sort of shrubbery? What if a Russian soldier comes too close to this machine? I don't even want to think about it. Let's hope footage of that never emerges online. But also, what is the ultimate purpose? From what we've seen, this is essentially a box with a mechanisms inside. There is little space left for anything else. So unless this is basically a proof of concept for something that could be mounted on larger vehicles like tanks, the whole thing doesn't really seem to be making much sense. Like many ideas of the Russian army, by the way. Anyway, moving on to our next story. In the Pokrovsk sector, Ukrainian FPV drone operators from the 7th Rapid Response Corps delivered a precision strike on a rare piece of enemy weaponry, a 2S9 Nona S self-propelled artillery unit. Russian troops tried to hide the equipment by placing the self-propelled gun inside a building, from where it could fire on Ukrainian positions. However, the camouflage has failed. The artillery unit was detected during a reconnaissance mission. Of course, some could say, well, they lost the drones, so it's a sign of weakness, but actually not really. It is a sign of strength of the Ukrainian army that they have found the perfect way to spare the lives of their troops. So they're actually putting robots first. And if a robotic system is destroyed, well, that's a financial loss and you need to manufacture a new one. Still, this is recoverable. And actually, the Ukrainian army are one of the biggest innovators in the world in terms of ground-based robotic systems of this kind. And there are so many of them, literally. There are mine-laying robots, there are evacuation units, which allow soldiers to escape from the thick of the fray, and of course combat units, which sometimes can fight for weeks on end against Russian onslaughts. Pretty impressive stuff there. Now, moving on. The Primare division of the main intelligence directorate continues its systematic work to destroy key elements of the enemy's military infrastructure. This time, high-value and critically important radar and air defense systems were targeted. These systems, which you'll be able to see in an upcoming video, formed the eyes that protected Russian groups, ensuring the detection of air targets before they arrived. Their loss significantly reduces the enemy's ability to control airspace and respond to threats. And with this, we conclude this edition of Military Mind. Next deployment at the same time tomorrow, and in the meantime, please stay with us here on TV.